like to welcome to this front stage of our Zoom meeting today is Frances from Shine Your Light Learning. Over to you, Frances.
Thank you, Dia. Teaching is a noble profession, and a day in the life of a teacher at any level is made up of many layers.
Welcome.
The ideal is that when a graduate teacher leaves uni, they will walk into a class and just teach. The children will sit and learn and all will be well. The reality is far different, and reality asks a lot more from the individual who is delivering the curriculum. A teacher engages with the students, but also works closely with their families, works closely with the grade level team, with staff, with principals, deputy principals, and external consultants. So there are many, many levels to providing learning that is effective, consistent, and meets the expectations of excellence in teaching. Another aspect of this is that teaching has a language of its own, and one of the core Australian professional standards for teachers is to be able to engage professionally with colleagues, parents, carers, and members of the community. 21st century education talks about the student being at the centre of the learning, where the dispositions of critical thinking, research, collaboration, communication, creativity in their thinking, being curious enough to ask questions and find the answers by problem solving are the expected norm rather than the exception. It follows then that the teachers need to be engaging these dispositions themselves in their role of providing opportunity for effective student learning while meeting the expectations of excellence in teaching and building their craft. For the last 15 years of working in schools, it's become very, very obvious to me that our graduate teachers, and certainly our teachers within the first 5 years of their profession, are leaving the profession in droves. The current education system has been declining into a crisis for some time. The system is broken, under-resourced, and it's failing our teachers, and it's certainly failing our students. And it seems that this will continue to happen, especially if our young teachers continue to leave. So it begs the question, why is this happening? This has been a concern of mine for some years, but now I have my own education design business. I can take the opportunity to investigate the causes and try to offer a solution. Now, the Australian Professional Standards for Teachers supports teachers as they learn to understand and develop their teaching practice and expertise. There are 4 stages that teachers go through. There's the graduate, proficient teacher, highly accomplished teacher, and the leading teacher. By demonstrating these standards, a teacher can have a maximum impact on all learners. But from my current research and talking with fellow teachers, principals, deputy principals, and graduates themselves, I'm hearing them say the same thing. When the graduates, step into the classrooms, they feel very, very overwhelmed with all of the expectations, workload, the management of a classroom, the planning, the actual teaching, the assessing, the recording the assessing. There are many, many layers and levels to working in a classroom, being a teacher. The promise of financial incentive by the government to encourage teachers towards leadership roles does not necessarily address the core problems that prevent our teachers from staying in the profession and developing their teaching practice so they can become confident, proficient, and accomplished educators. So this was a recent scenario set up by the government that they're thinking of doing this. We'll promise you, fund you financially and get you into leadership roles if you stay this many years in education. And I'm here to tell you that's not going to work. One of the most common statements I hear is that the graduates themselves cannot always identify what it is they need help with. So they don't actually know the questions to ask. They don't know what they don't know, so they don't know what to ask. And that is a massive problem. So if they have issues and they don't know how to manage them and they're dealing with several issues at once, it's really, really difficult for them to work out exactly where the problem lies and who to ask for help and how to get that help. Another observation I've made in recent weeks is that our young teachers are finding that their peers are mentors, the people who are supposed to be supporting them and helping them, actually don't have the time to help them. So when they're in a situation where they need advice right now, at their time of need, somebody is saying to them, I'm sorry, I have my own issues. I don't have time. I can't do this. And that's a massive problem. And I'm not saying the teachers are cruel, the older ones. I'm just saying they themselves are in a crisis trying to deal with their own classes and their own situations. So if we're not supporting our young teachers, if we don't have the resources there to support them, this leads then to uncertainty, loss of confidence and self-belief, and the self-doubt begins to creep into their psyche. In response to this, my goal is to work with principals and leaders to identify the particular problems that they see within their schools and to work with them to design a workshop, program of workshops that I can share with the graduates or the beginning teachers in their schools, or even to work with groups of teachers from a particular area and several schools at once. And in that way, I could address areas of specific concern and provide a safe environment for those teachers to develop their craft, to set goals for themselves, to discuss their achievements and their challenges, and also to allow them to ask the questions that they think might seem really stupid and they don't really want to ask anyone at school, because we all have those questions where you just need to know that one thing that will make the difference. So I'm currently developing a 6 to 8 week series of modules based on my research that will address some of the immediate issues that our graduates are trying to deal with, and will help them plan for and deliver effective teaching and learning, and also help them provide a supportive and safe learning environment for themselves and their students. Some of the key areas that I'm going to include in these modules are about managing themselves and managing their stress levels. So when I talk managing their self, it's almost about the housekeeping. It's about how they organise themselves outside of school, how much time they spend outside of school working, how do they balance that life-work balance, get that life-work balance working for them. I worked with this teacher, and it was September. I was talking to her, and she revealed to me that she was working till 11:30 every single night and had been for most of the year. So even when I was through most of the year saying to her, how can I help you? Is there something I can do to support you? She just thought that that's what teachers did. So we really need to be very clear about that work-life balance with our young teachers and help them manage their stress levels and reassure them that, they are entitled to a life. They don't have to be working 18 hours a day. The other part that's important is classroom management, and the things that surround this is actually the setup and managing the space, how children move in the space, how you store things in the space, and it's about occupational health and safety. You can't have things lying on the floor or chairs left out. And people say to me, you're so pedantic. A child falls over, it's on me. A child trips over electrical cord, it's on me. A child falls over and hits themselves on a pair of scissors lying on the floor, it's on me. So there's these things that need to be addressed, and I don't know that they're getting the support with this. The other thing that's really important for us teachers is that they develop a rapport with their students, as well as developing a rapport with their team that they're working with and with the entire staff. They really have to get to know their students, because then they can really place their students at the centre of that learning. It's also important things for them to learn about professional integrity, about student behaviour management, and it's really important for them to understand that the school would have a behaviour management plan. They have to learn how to implement that in their daily work with the children when they're on yard duty, when they're dealing with all children. Things like personal learning plans and personal behaviour plans are really important. So my point through all of this is that the education system is in crisis, our teachers and students are in crisis, and I know that my knowledge and skills can help them. So I actually see myself as a guardian, someone who can make a difference in education for our beginning teachers and our students. So I'm making a call to arms. I'm asking people who are listening to me to think about people that you know who would be willing to work with me, who need help, principals who are seeking someone who can support them, support their students. So any referrals that you can help me with, speak to people, pass on my details, tell them that I'm here to help them make a difference for their teachers, for their students, and hopefully make hopefully make a difference to our ailing education system. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Frances. That's very informative. And yes, we'll reach out